Very interesting. Yeah. Well, John developed his own. I mean.
And then he developed
John
his
was
own game beyond. After that, you know, John's a very astute guy, and he picked it up and took it even further.
Yeah,
He did extremely well with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember really incredible.
I remember you were making surprise moves on me with your epee. Wow, where did Jeff learn this?
I guess we always felt, you know, it's interesting talking to Johan in retrospect for me, because he had a very strong experience in Sweden of a very classical fencing attitude and approach, and you know, the forms are right and everything's perfect, and whereas we were always thinking about that when we were fencing, regarding what we thought was our more dynamic game. And I know your emphasis, not just on lessons but also on bouting and on analysis and on developing the unique qualities of each fencer and having him figure them out also for himself in terms of his fencing.
Building up his own game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know if you wanted to talk about the terms of your own experience of, you know, René Perroy and the experiences you had having lessons, and how what seems to me, especially when you think of the kind of fluidity of Johan's fencing, which I sort of picked up on, and the bouncing and the kind of extended actions and all of that. I remember various discussions we had about this. I don't know if you have any other, if you want to elaborate on some of that.
Well, I must say the bouncing technique, which Johan recommended, I was familiar with that from the boxing, and in the classical moves, I was familiar with that from the way René Perroy used to give the lessons, although they were a lot more static.
Yeah.
And so combining the two together as much as possible, we were able to give a good foundation, and at the same time to give free rein to the individual to use his technique, use the proper technique without going through a lot of academic stuff, just to make sure that when, as he made the move under stress, he didn't all of a sudden make a move that I would call stupid, and I could pick it up when our guy was in the second or the third phase of a set of moves, if he lost his form. And I was able to show them the consequences of losing their form at that particular point, while they were under stress, and putting the other person under even greater stress if they could, that they weren't taking full advantage of what they really could do. And once they got that concept down, they were able to fence with the most experienced collegiate fencers around at the time. And so that was very gratifying.
Yeah.
Now you can't do that with everybody.
Right.
Not everybody understands it and is able to put it into their game. But the fact that we could do it with you guys meant that your superior intellect and your willingness to build yourselves up physically, so that even though you were under stress, you were still capable of analyzing the opponent, and continuing through a whole set of actions, whether they were on the attack or on the defense or a combination, together with a counterattack. You would be able to make the move successfully, and keep the pressure up on the opponent, and that's what I was always aiming to do. And so you guys proved that you could do this kind of thing. And I guess that's where Johan also got the idea of developing the paradigm of getting the person to fence an entire game on your terms.
Yeah. Did you guys talk about that? I know Johan's sort of crystallized it.
Only in parts. Johan has gone further than I did and organized it even more so.
Mhm.
And so he's gone beyond me on it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I still remember talking about it with him in different.
Different contexts, or
Yeah, right. In different contexts, and setting up a continuation of an attack, or changing it from an attack to a defense to a counterattack,
Mhm.
and but then ending it after 2 or 3 moves only.
Mhm.
Now Johann is able to continue it with feints, one way or the other,
Mhm.
and enrich the game even more so.
Mhm.
And so he's taken it well beyond what I was trying to do.
Well, I remember you discussing once.
Don't forget, I was working an awful lot of the time with people who didn't have the fencing experience. You know, so you can only take them so far.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think what I was sort of impressed by, or what I think when I look back on it, was just the